Hey, how's it going? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for a movie review for you guys. So, for this review, I'll be reviewing a film that came out about 10 years ago, and it definitely flopped when it came out. It definitely didn't do well. So, this review, I'll be reviewing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2014. And of course, when it comes to Ninja Turtles, they've basically tried to reboot the Ninja Turtles quite a few times, actually. I think there was another one that came out in '07, which I don't remember seeing. I don't remember if I've seen it. I honestly haven't been keeping up with Ninja Turtles over the years. I know that Mutant Mayhem, or whatever it's called, came out, I think, last year. I've heard mixed things about that. I probably won't check it out. I've heard pretty goofy things about that one. And apparently that film, I think, is more aimed for children, so not really mature audiences. And I think that's one of the ways that the Ninja Turtles could get back on the right track, is maybe cater to a more mature audience. I know that people have mentioned before that they would like to see an R-rated Ninja Turtles movie, especially with Raphael, with the Last Ronin, or whatever that's called, which I believe is a comic book series, which I would like to check that out because I have heard really good things about that. So the Ninja Turtles, it's kind of having a hard time keeping its relevance, you could say. It still has its following, it still has its fan base, but I feel like it's in a state these last how many years now where it's really trying hard to, as a franchise, keep its relevance. And maybe that's why they went through with the Mutant Mayhem film, which again, I really don't have any interest in seeing. I mean, the Ninja Turtles, it really is in desperate need of getting back on the right track. Now, before we get into this film, I do want to talk about my history with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, TMNT. Was I always a fan? For me, I liked Ninja Turtles when I was younger. I do remember liking the cartoon and even the video game from 2003, which I think that might have been when the cartoon came out as well. I'm not sure. So I did kind of like Ninja Turtles back in the day, back when I was younger, but it was never something that I got too heavily into. I'm not sure why, because I do think the Ninja Turtles are pretty cool. I mean, I still do like the Ninja Turtles, even though in more recent years, TMNT has kind of dropped off for me, and maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that it is having a hard time keeping its relevance, and due to these live action films flopping and such. But I think we can all agree when it comes to the live action Ninja Turtles films, the classics are definitely the best. I mean, they definitely top this. I haven't seen the 2007 film. I think that's when it came out. I don't remember if I've seen that or not. Maybe at some point I'll give that a watch, but yeah. But the classics, they top these films. So with TMNT 2014, I will say that this film is okay or average at best. There are things to like about it. However, it definitely has its issues. It has its problems for sure, which we will go over here. But first, let's go ahead and talk about the things that I do like about this film. So when it comes to the things that I do like about this film, I think the action is pretty cool. I think the action is pretty decent in the film, but some of it is kind of ruined by the CGI, which, kind of spoils one of the problems that I do have with this film. And I also do like the way Shredder looks in the movie. I think he has really cool armor. I don't know what it is about his armor in this movie where he basically looks like a robotic samurai. I do like the way Shredder does look in this movie. I do like what they've done with the Shredder character in this movie, but I feel like they could have done more with him, if that makes sense. So yeah, that you could add that to the list of problems I have with this movie. But all in all, I do like what they did with Shredder in this movie. And of course, Shredder is known as basically the main villain of TMNT. I mean, when a lot of people think of TMNT, Shredder is really the only villain that comes to mind for people. Like, he's really the only villain that a lot of people remember. So, yeah. But I do like what they did with Shredder in this movie. So, yeah, that's a positive right there. But on to my issues with the movie. Like I said, the CGI looks awful. It really does. I mean, especially when it comes to Master Splinter, like even the way he looks, I don't like it. Like just the way he looks and everything. Just wasn't a fan of that. And when it comes to the design of the turtles themselves, I'm not really too big of a fan of the design of the turtles in this movie. Like they're like beefier, like they look more buff. Like I mean, I get that they're mutants and everything, but I don't know, something about the way they look in this film just it doesn't really do it for me, you know? And I know it doesn't really do it for a lot of you as well. You know, a lot of us would prefer, you know, the old look, you know, even if they had to go back to looking more goofy or whatever, you know. Just the way it is, I guess. So yeah, the CGI, you know, in the action scenes, it doesn't really look very good. And there is some cringe to the movie, like towards the end of the movie when they're in the elevator and they're like humming and singing and stuff. I found that to be pretty cringe. I wasn't a fan of the humor. I thought the humor for the most part was pretty cringe. There was one scene that did make me laugh though. The part where they were looking for the elevator and then they run into that army and they're like, uh-oh, you know. I will admit, you know, I did kind of get a laugh out of that. So, yeah, but that was really the only part of the film that I kind of laughed at, you know. So, yeah, the CGI, it really does hurt this film. I mean, the way that it was filmed and the cuts and edits and stuff, I've noticed could have used some work. I felt like, you know, the pacing wasn't that good. So, yeah, you could add that to the list of issues that I have. And also, I'm not a fan of Megan Fox, who plays April in this movie. I don't know why they decided to cast Megan Fox to play April of all actresses, but oh well. So I'm definitely not a fan of Megan Fox. I don't think she's a good actor. I did not think that her acting was that good in this movie. So let's go ahead and get into the plot of this movie. So pretty much the plot, you find out that the turtles and the rat were in this lab, you know, and I guess, what am I trying to say? Basically, something was discovered and the whole place was destroyed. They destroyed the whole place, and it turns out that April's dad was murdered, and she was also in the lab, and she actually rescued the turtles and the rat, which is kind of a weird plot hole for me personally. Like, why did she just like leave them like stranded? Like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like, why didn't she like bring them to like a pet store or something, you know? Found that kind of weird, and who knows the story behind that. But so they go into the sewer, and the rat, of course, is Master Splinter, who raises the turtles. You know how the story goes, you know, he raises the turtles, and of course they become warriors, they become ninjas. And April is a reporter, and she discovers that the vigilantes who have been protecting New York are the turtles that she rescued when she was younger. And Shredder basically has this plan to unleash this this device or whatever, where like there's like this virus that he plans on releasing, and he's like on this skyscraper and with this device and everything, basically trying to fulfill his master plan. And all of this is taking place in New York City, and he's on a skyscraper. So it's like, where the heck is Spider-Man when you need him? You know? I mean, this did come out the same time as Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, I mean, where's Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man? I mean, where is he at, you know? But yeah, totally different film. But so, of course, the Turtles, they have to come in and save the day, basically. That's basically the plot of the movie. I mean, it's basically straight to the point, very simple. And you could say that that's another flaw. Like, the movie, it's way too simple. It's way too simple. I mean, I understand what they were trying to do. They were just trying to reboot the Ninja Turtles another time. So that's kind of the rut that Ninja Turtles has been in, basically. This movie really did hurt the Ninja Turtles franchise as a whole, you know, because after this film, it's really been having a hard time keeping its relevance. Like I said earlier, it just, you know, it seems like the franchise as a whole has been on life support. And again, on top of the fact that Mutant Mayhem, you know, I know that film has been mixed for some people. So I do think that the Ninja Turtles is in desperate need of getting back on the right track. I think an R-rated Ninja Turtles movie would be the route to go. I think that that would be a brilliant idea. You know, maybe make a film based on The Last Ronin or what have you. I think something like that would be really cool, especially considering how popular that series is, that comic book line or whatever. I'm not sure how many books there are of that, but it does seem cool either way. So, TMNT 2014, it's an okay movie. There are things to like about it. One of the things that I did notice is with April, I mean, I noticed that they did stick to the source material, because I believe in the cartoon, and maybe even the original comics, April was wearing a yellow jacket, and Megan Fox's version of April was wearing a yellow jacket in this movie. So I do appreciate that they did stick to the source material, because that's like what she typically wears, you know? So there's that. So can't complain there. So again, there are things to like about this movie. I do think some of the action is pretty cool. You know, I can't really complain about the action too much. So yeah, it's average. It's an average, okay movie. So if I were to give this movie a score, I would have to give it probably a 5.5 out of 10. It's average or just okay, like I said. So that's my review for the film. Let me know what you think. So on that note, thanks for watching. Have a good one.